What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Trading My Live Account. Today is day number 17, June 29th, 2023. We made some trades today, so let's get into it. So let's start off by talking about all of our important levels that we have on the chart today. So we have this blue line that represents yesterday's closing price, and that price is 34,123, I believe. And that price will come through and actually play a pretty important role later on in today's session. So let's start off by talking about trade number one today. Now, today was a little bit different because I was doing a little bit of trading in the pre-market. I was up a little early, so I charted up, saw what happened since the London session started at 3 o'clock. And then once I got to the edge of the chart and I was caught up in real time, I had a zone drawn that came at the top of an uptrend. So you can't see it, but before, what time is this? So before 7 o'clock over here to the left side, prices were moving in a pretty good uptrend. And then that's when I drew this zone once we started to consolidate. So I just simply follow my strategy when it comes to trading zones. And that is, first thing I want to do, I want to identify the direction that the market was trending in before the zone was established. Today's case, that scenario was prices were moving up. So that means that I'm only looking to go long in the zone, which means that if I'm going long in the zone, the only place I want to go long from are the lows of the zone towards support. And then I want to catch that trade and take it back up to the top and sell it at the highs of the zone at resistance. So that's what I was able to do on trade one. I went long at the bottom of a zone that was established in the pre-market and I exited at the highs. So remember from these past two trading reviews that I've done this week, I talked a lot about trading my strategy and trading my strategy the right way. Looking for my setups when I see them, and then not only just taking the right entry, but managing the trade correctly while the trade is open, and then exiting at the optimal price, the best possible price that I could get. And I think that on trade one, I did all three of those things very well, so it led to a good trade. And I think that's just another representation of what could actually happen when I follow my plan and I stick to my rules. I'm trying to work my way out of this drawdown period, and I think doing things like these will make a big difference. So eventually the market did open at 9:30, but let's start over here at 8:30. I'm not sure if news came out, it might have, but we had a huge spike in volume, and then we see that was pretty much the end of it. We saw prices spike all the way back up to around 34,250. They made a lower high right here, and then from that point forward created another one, brought us back down into the zone, and brought us all the way back to yesterday's closing price right around 9 o'clock a.m. this morning. So they tried to reclaim that closing price, created another lower high that lined up with a previous level of support, which is a major market structure concept, which means that whenever you have what used to be support, if that gets broken through, if prices ever come back to test it, it usually will act as resistance if the trend is down. And that's exactly what we saw right here. So we see prices reclaim, get back under that closing price from yesterday, continue moving down until we finally reverse. But what I find interesting about this chart is that we reversed exactly when the market opened. So no matter how strong this selling was going into the open, it was enough buyers at 9:30 for the market to move higher, and actually move higher for a good amount of the day after this. So once the market opened, we shot right back up to yesterday's closing price, came all the way back up to the zone. We didn't have any red candles within that whole entire period. So this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, an 11 candle bull spike, which tells you that the uptrend is very strong. So once I saw that, I started looking for opportunities to get back into the market. Now, I thought about going long at the zone right here, but it just didn't seem right because it just seemed too obvious of a level. So I was like, you know what, let me just hold out and look for a better signal. And I think that's a good job by me, because throughout this week, one thing I've been focusing on is not taking those trades where I'm unsure or maybe I think it could work. Rather, I should be taking trades where I'm like, oh, okay, this is my setup. I saw this, that, and the third. Boom, I take the trade and I live with the results. So I think I did a really good job by passing on that opportunity right there. So we see prices come back down, create a higher low right here. So this represents one of my favorite setups. I like to see a higher low get made in the uptrend. Then I circle it up. I put a level of support on the lows of that candle, and then I wait for prices to come back and retest it. Now in this scenario, I was still kind of analyzing the market and I wasn't quite sure if I should take that move. So by the time it came back and tapped that line, I missed out on it, which is okay because sometimes in the market, if you trade long enough, you'll miss out on some of your best trades. It's just part of the game. But what you don't want to do is chase after the market if you miss your trade. So I think I did a good job of doing that today because I know on past days that I've had, if I get too emotionally connected to that setup and I say, man, I should have had that. I know I should have had that. Then I have a tendency to start making irrational decisions, and that's never good because that usually leads to losses. And those are those little small losses that I keep talking about when I say that I'm taking, unnecessary losses that are eating into my profit from my good trade. So I think I did a really good job right here of not chasing. So instead of chasing it, I was just patient, saw prices break back above the zone one more time, and then we came back to create another higher low. Now this right here was very important to me, and it really stood out because we're already in a very strong uptrend that already had one higher low get established, and then we break out of the zone, come back and create a higher low on top of the zone. So it was actually two different factors right here in play that made the move to the upside a little bit more likely. So first of all, we had that higher low that got established. That always represents buyers in the market because usually buyers are trying to use that level to go long off of if prices ever come back into it. So that's one group of buyers that are going long up here at this area. But we also have a successful breakout of a zone that's been drawn since probably about, I would say, 6:30 this morning. So that's a very significant zone, especially on a 1 minute chart, which is what we're looking at right now. So for that zone to get broken, and then we consider the fact that we were already in a strong trend, so it makes sense for it to be a higher low that gets established right here. That right there shows you that there were two groups of people in the market: the people looking to go long off of a higher low, and the people that were looking to go long off of a successful breakout retest. And that's exactly what we had right here. So I was able to participate in that as well. I saw prices come back to the top of the zone. That's where I put my order at. And then here's another thing that I'm actually really proud of myself doing today also, is that I could have held this trade for my normal profit target, which is around 21 points. Now that would have placed my profit target, I think I went long at like 207, 208. So that would have placed my profit target right around 229, which eventually prices were able to reach, but I would have had to sit through a pullback. And if you guys, I think I was talking about this on trade review number 15, I believe. I was telling you guys how I'm really not the type of trader to sit through the pullback. I want to catch my move from point A to point B, cash out, take my profits, and then if we do get that pullback and I still like the prospects that the market is offering, it's no big deal. I'll get right back into the move, no problem. But I like to be in and out and then decide whether or not I want to get back in if things are looking pretty good. So right here, I think I made a good job of adapting to what was in front of me. I think on some of my losing days, I probably would have been like, you know what, my profit target is my profit target and I'm not moving it. Now that's a good idea to have, like, when you're really struggling and you're trying to get back into profit. But usually you got to be a little bit dynamic with the rules that you have, meaning that if you feel so adamantly that you have to keep your profit target where it is, you have to weigh that idea that you have against the idea of what if prices don't get past this level. Because here's what I was thinking at that point in time when I went long. I'm like, okay, I see prices stopped here once, twice, and 3 times on the 3 candles before I went long. So I'm like, okay, I know the trend is up and more than likely will probably move higher, but what I've learned about consolidation zones, even little small micro zones like this where it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, only 6 candles, no matter how small or large the zone may be, what I've learned is that the zone will continue to be a zone until it's broken out of. So that taught me along the way that I need to take my profits at the top if I'm going long, or if I'm going short, I need to take my profits at the bottom. But trying to play the zone and anticipate the breakout is not really my style. Anticipating the breakout could work for others, but for me, I don't know why, I just usually get it wrong. So I've learned that when prices come back up to the extremes of the zone, I take profit right there. And I think on trade 2, I was very dynamic and I was able to show that, I'm not completely adamant about my rules and I'm able to be dynamic. And I think that's a positive thing for me because remember, I'm trying to get out of drawdown, and I think building my confidence day by day is so important when you're trying to get out of a period of drawdown. Because I think I went through drawdown this year earlier in around, I think it was like mid-February until about mid-April. So that was almost 2 months. And when I finally got out of it, what I started doing was just viewing the market from a more logical perspective, coming in with my plan and doing what I know that I should do. So days like this are really important. You got to take the trades that you know, build your confidence, and then over time you'll start to get back into the rhythm and flow of the market. So overall, I think today I did a pretty decent job. Now, here's what I also want to focus on, and that thing is not getting too up about this day that I had today. You know, I'll pat myself on the back. I did do a good job, but it's always important to still keep working on the things that you got to improve on. Now, these past couple of trading days, I've been saying that I want to focus on getting rid of the unnecessary losses or the trades where I'm not quite sure, and getting back to just taking my best setups no matter what the scenario may be. So even though I had a good day today, I still want to make sure that I practice those things and I work on those things in my back testing session so that I can come back tomorrow and have results like I did today, be able to finish off the week the strong way. Because for all my traders out there, you guys know that no matter how bad your week might have been, if you're able to come in on that Friday and actually do what you're supposed to do, make good trades, you can ride that momentum through the weekend, study hard, and then come back on Monday and keep killing it. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do tomorrow, finish off the week strong, and that starts tonight with a good back testing session. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me today. It's been a good session. I learned a lot. I hope you guys did too. I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, June 30th at 9:30 a.m. But until then, you guys, take it easy.